in less than 5 minutes, I'm going to show y'all how to make these cute custom printed hand-sewn scrunchies. The video is sped up, so I'm just going to talk through it. Y'all, these are super easy, and if you ask me, they're pretty therapeutic to make. So the things you're going to need is obviously a sewing machine. You're going to need a sublimation printer, sublimation paper, a heat press, 100% polyester fabric, and the measurements of the piece of fabric that I used was 7.5 by 35.5. You're going to need needle and thread and elastic. For the elastic, I used 8 inches of the 1-inch elastic. Okay, so I started everything off by cutting out my fabric and sitting it off to the side. Then I went ahead and got my design together. Now this design I created myself because it's for my sister and it's got her pictures on it, but you can create a design or you can go find one that's already created and print it out with your sublimation printer and sublimation paper. And once you got your fabric cut and your design printed out, the next thing to do is to go ahead and press the design onto the fabric. I pressed this design at 400 degrees for 60 seconds. Once it was done, I let it cool off for just a split second, and then I was ready to go ahead and start sewing it up. Now, there are different ways people choose to sew up scrunchies, but this is the way I chose to do it. I took the 2 ends and I serged that closed. For the remainder of the scrunchie, I tucked and pulled all while sewing it closed, essentially creating this tubey looking thing. And of course, you want to leave some kind of opening because you're going to have to flip this bad boy inside out or outside in. And look, I kind of caught up with the video. So here I am showing y'all where I'll be sewing, and I kind of shook down the fabric that I tucked inside, and then I'm going to go ahead and serge it all closed. And like I said, I'm tucking, sewing, and pulling, and that's exactly what's happening here. So I just put it on my serge and started sewing, and as it started getting to the bottom, I will pull at the top, which will give room for me to pull what's inside through to the bottom. And I'll just keep rolling with that until I've sewn all the way around and leaving that 1/2 inch opening. At your discretion, how much room you leave for the opening. Keep in mind that you do have to flip this thing inside out and close it. Because I hand sew it closed, I do a 1/2 inch because it won't take me long to close that up. In my opinion, it just looks better. Didn't show me flipping it inside out in the video, but that did happen. And right now, I'm putting elastic inside of it through that small opening. Now, I did put a safety pin on each end of the elastic, and I attached one end of the elastic with the safety pin onto the scrunchie, and then the other one I fed it through. Do this so that at least one end stays put, and that way I'm not fighting to grab both ends of the elastic, which it wouldn't be too hard for a big scrunchie like this, but I do it anyways. The safety pin that I use to feed the elastic through this scrunchie, I am pulling it all the way through until I can get it out of the hole. I went ahead and remove the safety pins from both ends of the elastic, and then I will go ahead and stitch these 2 ends together. I ran this through my serger 3 times, which is unnecessary. I did it just because it makes me feel better. But y'all, we are pretty much done with this scrunchie. Once that's stitched together, the last thing to do is to hand sew that opening closed, and voila, you got your beautiful scrunchie. I'll just stop in here and let y'all watch the rest of the video with some music. That's all. Good day.